Hello everyone and welcome back to FailRace versus Community. Second part here for B-Class Heavyweights with Accelerated Tire, where we're at Mid-Ohio on the front row this time. And as we had in the first two races, we're hoping for some good acceleration and see maybe can we take the lead into turn one. We're going to be on the outside, try and hang it round the long way round of another Cobra with the same liveries we were fighting with for second at Homestead. But we'll get a move done on the outside, and as we head down towards the hairpin, we'll be able to claim the lead through the hairpin. Just try and make sure we keep a tightish line, not to allow an opportunity for the Cobra to come back on the inside, and again use the acceleration on the exit to pull clear. With the pace that we had at Homestead, there is maybe the potential for a win here, but Mid-Ohio is a much more technical track. And so it might not suit our car as much, which relies more on acceleration to get its pace. And immediately I'm braking myself into the right-hander to start this technical section, and then sort of struggling with understeer here a bit, despite being on the soft tyre. Tyre, again, as with the last two races, is on 7 times wear, and as you can see, our lack of handling abilities. The Cobra is trying to come back, spots the gap down the inside and neatly puts it in. Will just blip the accelerator in the middle of the corner to get in front of us and leave us no room on the outside, as they were fair to do so. But we try and come back, use the acceleration to the outside of the third to last corner. That gives us the inside for this long right-hander that makes up the penultimate corner. We're going to do the same back to the Cobra, blip the throttle in the middle of the corner, get far enough ahead that we can squeeze them out on the exit, and then they're going to get served wide out of the final corner and drop a whole load of positions. But yeah, it certainly cost them a lot more than it cost me earlier on. That gives us a little bit of a safety margin to second and 9/10 gap, as we're now hopefully going to use the soft tyres to pull out further ahead. The tyre wear here at Mid-Ohio was a bit higher than it was at Homestead, and so I kind of realised, no, the soft strategy wasn't going to be possible here like it would have been at Mid-Ohio. So we're going to come into the pits at the end of this lap. We've still got that second lead, but that's not a great showing. The fact that we weren't able to pull a gap on soft tyres compared to those on mediums. So we select set of mediums after just about avoiding the tyre wall in the pit entry. I underestimated how tight the pit entry was. But we have closed up to the back of a black Toyota through the final couple of corners, knowing that they're about to go into the pit, so well, at least hoping they were, which they did indeed. Not getting too aggressive from them, don't want to lose extra time being side by side with them, but definitely cost us a few tenths there. So as they come down to turn, we're going to look to the inside over the bar. You can see Hordes and Ollie coming out of the pit exit. They're going to be in front of us out of T1. We're going to have a bit more momentum on Ollie exiting the pit lane. They're going to leave the inside open for us, so we'll fly on by with the extra momentum and try and hold on to what is a net P2 now. Hordes clean in front of us, in fact 1.5 seconds in front of us. So yeah, we lost 2.5 seconds over that pit sequence to Hordes from putting on the medium tyre and getting held up with a little bit of traffic. So it shows you just how much weaker our car is. Of course, Hordes was further back at Homestead, so they might have had more pace there than what they were able to show for. But Ollie now in their pink car right behind us, you're going to see much better turning capabilities over the crest here. We'll pull to the inside, we'll get in front, and we'll easily be able to hang around the outside here. And just realised that was a battle that I was never going to win. Also got to mention Hordes and Ollie are now probably on soft tyres to run to the end of the race, and so that's going to make it now impossible with our inferior grip to begin with, let alone the inferior tyre. So as we get to the final lap of the race now, we're still in P3, but the cars behind have caught up. Brazen has lost P4 though, to a black BMW, which we're just a little bit wide through the hairpin. Sneaks to our inside as we pull clear by the radar. We weren't actually quite clear. The radar lying to us and how much overlap we had. We pulled to the inside, just want to make sure that we can hold the inside, but also try and deny the BMW a car's width on the outside of the right-hander here. Just be as awkward and as annoying as we can be, as we know, we're on medium tyres. These two cars behind us are going to be on the softs, and they're most likely going to have better turning capabilities than us to begin with. You can see the BMW running arrow as well. BMW tries to get a cutback to give themselves the inside for this double right-hander that the Cobra tried to take advantage of on the opening lap, but we just cover it off and are trying to hold on to P3. Now the BMW though gets a good run out of the right-hander and heading towards this left-hander is close enough to have us send a little bit of contact on the apex, pushes us a little bit wider. Brazen is able to follow through. Unfortunately for us, that drops us down to P5. And yeah, again, we just don't have the grip, so we'll not be making up any positions through the final couple of corners. So in the end, we'll have to settle for P5. We didn't have much, we didn't have the grip to be fighting, we didn't have the pace really to be staying in front of those two cars. So yeah, of course, unfortunate to not be able to hold on to the lead, but to only fall to 5th, it could have been worse. There were more cars that were quicker than us behind. That we were able to stay in front of. As we go to the final round here, we are at a wet road Atlanta. They'll change strategy as well, of course, be on the wet tyres. They don't work quite as much, although we're so far back starting P20, we're unfortunately starting through the final corner, so I have to be a little bit careful of putting the power down through the final corner off the start, but we do still have the acceleration to get up into 19th. Try and make sure we don't run into the back of the cars in front of us. Being a little bit cautious through the wet, through the quick turn 1 of Road Atlanta as well, before things narrow up into the S's. We'll sort of claim a P19. We've got one car on our outside, that is Ollie, who might be able to get around the outside here if Glisker and Grumbles get together into the S's, just not leaving each other enough space, and Forsically will drag them both off the track. One of the Cobras, Cobra we were Hordes getting spat sideways across the grass, will have to cut the final part of the left-hander of the S's. That puts us up into 16th. Brazen and Glisker fighting behind. Brazen, much better run out of the left-hander. We'll look to our outside as we defend, and yeah, we'll just have the glip to go around our outside. We'll try and come back in on the inside to this right-hander, but just the understeer of the car will actually give Glisker an opportunity to cut back on the inside, but they won't have the acceleration on the exit. Longbow getting spat onto the grass, and another car, a black BMW, getting spun across the track on the back straight here, gives us another couple of positions up to P15. We're on the back of this black Toyota once again, a lot more straight line speed than them. Easily allows us to get to the inside, and the purple brick that we were fighting with Homestead after we had taken our pit stop, and a couple of cars missing their braking points and running wide. The purple car's going to try and hold it alongside, but we'll squeeze them tight onto the apex. I think one of the cars rejoining also slightly compromised them, allows us to take P12. Alex, who was one of the two cars that ran wide at chicane, running wide to out of the final corner here, so we have a quick check of our tyres, only up to 8%, so as you can see, much not as bad as the tyre were in the previous races. Another car out wide onto the grass, taking their time to rejoin, which is good to see, making sure they have a safe rejoin, as they would have been coming onto the racing line, but we give them just a bit of space to be safe anyway. But as we get into the S's now, Ollie and Alex just pulling away from us with their superior grip. Definitely feel like I'm struggling a bit more with Road Atlanta. He's quite technical when you if you forget about the back straight, or sort of technical besides the back straight, and these weather conditions certainly aren't helping us with that. So Hordes is now closing in on us behind, closing in to within half a second. Gap closing quite quickly over this sort of half a lap. We'll be right on our bumper through this tight right-hander that leads on to the back straight. We'll have the acceleration on the Cobra to pull a few car lengths, but Hordes will be in that slipstream and will be gaining a little bit compared to their normal pace. That'll allow them to be a little bit closer to us at the end of the straight, and will make it easier for them to mount an attack into the next lap. Ollie having to defend from Alex, who's going to try and look around the outside of the first part of the chicane, gives him the inside for the second part. Ollie leaving him plenty of space as we see a Pega get spun off into the left-hand side wall by a car in front. But Alex is going to try and get that move done into the final corner, though runs very wide of the apex. That heavily compromises Ollie, allows us to get alongside, but then we're just sort of boxed in behind Alex. I have to lift a little bit to not run into the back of him, and then try and make sure we don't run into the back of Alex there into the first corner, braking lower than expected. Ollie trying to come back at us, obviously has a bit more grip, and thanks to Forza collisions being dodgy, will just simply drive through us. How rude of them. Into the S's. It does catch me by surprise and make a little mistake with my gears. But yeah, Ollie a little offline here through the S's will allow us to close in a little bit again, but again, we're just not going to have the grip to do so. Hopefully we can stay close enough and maybe pick up a little bit of slipstream, as every little helps, of course, but whether we'll be able to mount a challenge is another story. Into this right-hander, a little bit deep wide of the apex, then having to sort of use the power to try and rotate the car. Very messy exit, love wheel spin. That gives Hordes, who's now caught up again, a run out of the corner. He pulls fully alongside us. Of course, our acceleration does pull us back in front, but Hordes tucking back into the slipstream might be close enough to go for a move here. Does drop a couple of car lengths back before the braking zone, so it'll be too far back to make a move into the chicane, but with their superior handling might be able to make a move out of the chicane if they can set it up. Ollie running a little bit wide in front, but Hordes has set that move up. We'll get to the inside here, into the final corner. Hordes on our inside will just deny us of the apex, and yeah, will cost us a bit of time. Luckily the two cars behind us were fighting side by side through the final corner as well, and thus neither of them were able to take advantage of Hordes passing us. But as we get to the S's, Ollie making a mistake through turn 1 there, it looks like, dropping back into the clutches of Hordes. Of course, as we get into the S's here, we won't be able to take advantage of that, and we'll once again be sort of thinking about the cars behind us. You can see a Honda NSX closing up to the back of us through the S's. We're just trying to keep it nice and tidy. You can see how much we're holding the NSX up through the final part of the S's. The car behind them nearly gets into their rear bumper. 2 corners before we get to the back straight. As you can see, Hordes going around the outside of Ollie in front. But the NSX not able to go for a move through these corners. Will get our exit looking to the inside, but won't have the acceleration off the corner, and we will be able to pull quite a bit clear down this back straight. So much so the car behind Grumple's little bit of recovery from an earlier instant is able to just pull clear of the NSX on the straight. So yeah, that NSX losing nearly a second to us just on that straight alone, even being in slipstream range, shows you how much more acceleration and top speed we have. Not running any aero, of course. But yeah, Grumples is going to go for pit lane, just about gets into pit lane. I think he was a little bit wide onto the grass. The NSX will follow as well. That leaves us in a bit of no man's land. So yeah, we're in no man's land. We ran, because there wasn't as much tire wear and we had clean air, and we weren't being slowed down by any battles. We ran to the penultimate lap, and we pitted then for a new set of wet tires at the end of that penultimate lap. Forza pit stops aren't any quicker if you don't, if you decide not to change tires. So we might as well take new tires, and to save us any risk of running extra tire wear, to try and hold on to P10 that we've been spat out with. The cars behind closing in. Grumples and the NSX haven't been able to jump us with that pit sequence. So our pace wasn't too bad to work with the overcut, but yeah, our pace not being great. We haven't made up any position through just by holding on to the top 10. As we come on to the back straight, we'll use our acceleration to pull a little bit clear of the blue Porsche that was closing in on us through the middle sector of the lap, and hopefully we'll have enough of a gap to hold on to P10. Through the final few corners, you can see the gap opening up quite a lot, opening up to a second even by the time we hit the brakes, and they're 3 wide actually in the background of the replay into the final chicane. That'll easily allow us to remain clear. So as we come over the crest down into the final corner, we'll hold on to P10, which is still 10 places gained for this race. So overall, still a good race for us, making up plenty of positions. But yeah, we're starting 9 positions. We actually start P19. But yeah, maybe being saved a little bit from a big battle behind us. We certainly struggled for pace, didn't have the handling to be any further up, let's just say, especially with how far back that we started. That is going to do it for this week's FailRace versus the community. Thank you everyone very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.